A reliable news source is integral to understanding current events. In today's climate, it seems to be getting harder to trust the news you're consuming. What is the reason for this? You would assume that news is news, right? How much can it be changed? Turns out that it can be very easy for news to spin into a misleading or totally fabricated story. These stories are easily propagated and can snowball into detrimental outcomes. Our current internet-centered society makes it easier to spread false news. There's a trend in America of moving away from paper and cable news to online sources. The Pew Research Center conducted a survey from September 31 of 2020 to August 7th of 2020 that found roughly 86% of Americans get their news from digital devices. This sounds like a beneficial thing, and in many ways it is. News to American adults is easily accessible, and sources are abundant. People no longer have to wait for newspapers in the morning or for cable news programming. This makes it feasible for more people to be better informed. However, the abundance of sources can also muddle the reliability. News publication companies use journalists and other news professionals to gather information. When relying on these, the stories are probably going to be more reliable. Even if the journalist is biased, they would report some of the original story. When turning to online media, one can easily stretch or create their own story. This is especially true on social media outlets such as Twitter. In an article published by Science titled "The Spread of True and False News Online," they found that on Twitter, false news spreads faster than truth. Using a dataset provided by Vosoi et al., it was found that from 2006 to 2017, roughly 126,000 rumors were spread by 3 million people. Why is this happening? There are some factors found that are thought to contribute to why people are falling for and distributing false news. The University of Victoria Library's Fake News Guide found some factors that could be contributing to accepting and spreading false news. People are more inclined to believe fake news when quickly scrolling through articles. When given more time, they are more likely going to analyze the story's accuracy and critically think about the information. With the media algorithms, repeated exposure of certain articles or headlines can also make you more likely to believe them to be authentic. The more we are exposed to information, the more familiar it feels, and the more likely we are to accept it. Fake news articles can be disguised in a variety of non-traditional news media, such as memes, pictures, or videos that appear on social media feeds. False stories tend to be more novel, producing more guttural, emotional responses that will generate more traffic. Being more susceptible to false news makes spreading it more commonplace. False information tends to be spread in smaller groups, such as group emails and chats with trusted individuals, or social media pages that consist of like-minded individuals. When information is exchanged on these sorts of platforms, individuals are more likely to believe them. From there, they would extend their audience to other social media outlets, generating a larger response. This sort of spread is labeled misinformation when someone shares information without knowing it's fake. The spread of false information also occurs by deliberate attempts to mislead individuals. Disinformation is often used to promote a specific purpose or agenda. Social media trolls, who push false information onto people's pages for political, monetary, or personal reasons, contribute to the spread. Internet bots, or fake accounts, also generate and spread false information for similar reasons. Stanford researchers likened the spreading to that of a viral infection. They found that many people are susceptible to this, like a disease. Similar to a virus, people can be exposed multiple times to multiple strains that will make them more likely to spread false news. When they hear it from a more influential source, it is much easier to be persuaded. False information can go viral primarily when small, influential groups come across, then share the news. A study conducted by the University of Oxford's Reuters Institute found that only 20% of fake news stories were shared by public figures, yet they were responsible for almost 70% of the total engagements on social media. Meaning that when one of these figures posts false information, it makes a substantial impact. When regular people see a celebrity or other figure they respect post, they are more likely to accept it and share. Nowadays, many public figures have some sort of political leaning they are open about. Compounding this with our politically tense climate, celebrities and average people are likely to try to promote stories that make their side look better, even if it means pushing aside aspects that can provide a better understanding of the event. People can look towards their personal beliefs to alter whatever news they are hearing to create neatly formed biases. Confirmation bias takes place on social media when someone has a preconceived notion of a news story before reading it. They will then use that notion to fit the narrative they wanted to hear. Popular platforms like Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram contain a plethora of sources that back whatever narratives they want. Those invested in a certain ideology can often comb through the news to get information that will back their messages. This can be explained by the ways that humans process information. When bombarded with so much information, it tends to be easier to process what you find appealing. Individuals could also be protecting their self-esteem to feel better about themselves. Confirmation bias can be an effective way of avoiding cognitive dissonance. When someone holds contradictory opinions or beliefs, it can be stressful, so they might seek to mediate dissonance by only taking one side and pushing it on others. Confirmation bias has serious implications regarding the spread of false news. It shapes how one interprets information that influences societal and social media decisions. In a study conducted by social psychologist Leon Festinger, he observed the thoughts of a doomsday cult after their countdown expired. To his surprise, the members doubled down on their beliefs instead of losing faith in the cult. Festinger found that the members who were most invested, i.e. quit their jobs, gave up their homes, were more likely to reevaluate and reinterpret the same message to better fit their cult's mission than those on the fringes. His experiment illustrates that when people are more invested in an ideology, people are more likely to employ cognitive dissonance so they won't confront the possibility of looking foolish or misinformed. This extreme example transcends that of cult mentality into tribalism on social media. People want to find their group and stick with them. It prevents people from objectively gathering and promoting information. False news can easily and unfortunately effectively spread. It is important now more than ever to consume and share the most reliable news we can. People need to stop and think before they retweet or share a story they read.